Hello everyone, it's a voiceover recording of a Solano match between myself and James Fox. I'm Sean Lewis, Fargo 671, James is 483 Fargo. We're playing 9-ball, race to 9, alternate break on a bar table at the penalty box in Lakewood, Washington. James is preparing for a high buy-in 9-ball tournament, $4.99 and under, I think. So he's been taking a few lessons, and we're doing some Solano sets to get him more prepared. Play safe here. I might even shoot this combo. The only thing with the combo is if you hit it too hard, you might roll behind the 7 or give yourself too thin of an angle. But I like playing aggressively when I can. One of the things about bar table pool, as you get better and better, is you realize when other players are also going to be playing more aggressively, expecting to be able to work it out or play maybe a safe if they can just go for it and make the ball. Definitely on an 8-foot table, bar table, 7-foot table, the ball pocketing is quite a bit easier than a 9-footer. So I think it pays to be aggressive and sacrifice a little bit of your position sometimes. Ideally, of course, you're just playing proper patterns, but bar table pool, you have to be pretty precise with your cue ball. But you can get away with it if you play proper patterns and leave yourself a little bit long. So here I like coming between the 7 and the 9 if I'm going to go forward. But yeah, going 2 rails just to make sure that there's no chance to get hooked behind the 9-ball. I don't want anything too crazy to happen. Here I have the choice to use right English and try to play to cut the 9 on the side, or I can just roll it and play really nice speed to play the 9 in the corner. One zero. So I'm trying to play kind of like a punch, stun type, just almost full, but I am trying to have the cue ball come back down, straight down table towards the spot, basically. So it is slightly cutting, but no English on the cue ball. Because in that situation, I could have played safe because I know that I'm just going to crash into the ball, but I'm going to try to play aggressively as much as I can. The 4 doesn't seem to pass through that zone where the 5 is into the pocket, so I think I'm going to play a combination here, which means I want to really be to the right side so that I'm a little bit straighter in on the 4-5 combo. And now I don't know quite where the 4 is going to go, so what I'm going to do is draw back, kind of more towards the middle of the table, with the expectation the 4 is going to maybe go 2 to 3 rail position plays, 2 to 3 rails of speed. I wasn't sure if I was going to hit that 9 ball or not, so. Maybe I should have looked at the contact point there. It was a little bit thin. High left or high right here, maybe? Yeah. Then high right, center right. I have a thin cut, and I'm always leery of the scratch on this shot. I need to probably spend a little bit more energy practicing it. Not hit that very well. Almost got fortunate and stuck under the 9. But I was playing that to make it and play to the left side of the 9 ball. So here I like to hit it a little bit full and use high ball. Maybe a touch of right English. Good shot. One to one. Scratch. I'm not sure if the body movement is intentional. It seems like there's a little bit of a lunging almost on the final stroke. Here I'm going to play between the 5 and the 2 rather than playing the angle where I go back up and try to avoid staying underneath the 4 ball, because this way I can a little bit more control without having to worry about going into the balls. Just playing that ball right to the middle of the table, kind of general area, knowing that I can go to the side rail, I can go forward, I can draw. To play from the 3 to the 4. Yeah, I was playing it a little softer than that. So now I'm going to adjust, cut it to the left. Probably should have used draw and a touch of left there so I could come back around the 5. But I was cinching the ball a little bit. Pretty good. It's tough to play the object ball speed to me on that shot and get the angle proper also to play that 2 rails to the middle of the table safety. Another good safe, making me jump again. Hoping to just make this and come straight across table. Here I might bank the 5 in between the 9 and the 7. Yeah, like this queuing is here. I like that. Slow rolling it basically to play your cue ball to the side, to the end rail, and you just play the speed of both balls by playing the angle of the hit. Just play straight across here. Now, early in matches, it's interesting because you're still kind of trying to get used to the conditions. If it's a little different than maybe you're used to, you don't automatically just get into where you're like hitting the ball perfectly clean, because you might not really understand completely what's going on with the physics of everything. I'm trying to stun this across and play straight in for the 2. They hit it just a little bit full, so I got kind of on the point, but I'm not sure that I'm stuck. I remember this shot. It looks like it may be possible, so I'm going to shoot at it. Maybe I should have jumped the ball. I don't know if that would have helped. It was very close. All right, well, here, be thinking about staying in line. The hole out is there. Overpowered it there. That was the right shot, though. Yeah, that was a good shot. It would have gone just a little bit further. It could have been under the 9. That would have been ideal. Another thing you might have tried to do is elevate a little bit to get a little bit more power on the 3 to bank it. And use a little bit of draw to try to change the line back to that line that you wanted. On a faster table, I might play with right English. Play the 7 in the side. Sure, I'm going to play follow and left English here. Pretty good. Bumped it, but that happens and it still comes out pretty nice a lot of the time. That's why you like to play that 2 to 3 rails. 3 rails out, because if you come out on the 3rd rail, you're pretty much going to end up with the shot. A lot of times you'll bump. There, that shot I needed to use inside, I think, a little bit. 2 to 2. A little bit of stroke inconsistency there, maybe. Another scratch. So here it's crucial that I get on the 3 to the 4. Once I've established position on the 3 going to the 4, then I'm going to be good to go. So I need to be very, very precise on my spot for the 2, or like pick the pattern, the right zone. So I just got to play below the line of the shot from the 3 into the side so that I can go forward and above the 5. I don't want to bump the 5, so you just have to play a little bit of follow. And ideally now I can just naturally roll each shot in and not have to do too much with the cue ball that it doesn't want to do. Stop shot, first stop shot. Pretty straight in, so I'll just roll this forward for the 6 in the corner. And mainly I just want to end up with a nice angle for the 7 going to the 9. Oh, so I could have just punched it. I was below the angle, so each little difference in where the cue ball ends up, you just adapt to the exact situation that's there and pick the right shot for the actual position of the balls, regardless of what you may have been playing for when you're at the shot. Then you'll know exactly what you need to do now, and to adapt to that is a big part of the game, is just taking what's actually there, not what you're like hoping to have there earlier when you shot your last shot, but the actual shot that's there now. It's 3-2. Cut that. I learned from James there. So the balls are pretty tough here. If I was going to try to get out, I may... it's tough because I would play like almost straight in on the 1 with the cue ball slightly above that, and then use high and left to go forward 2 rails out of the corner, and then try to bump the 6, shoot the 2 all the way down table, and then play the 3-9 ideally, or the carom on the 3 to the 9, or the combo on the 4 is doable, but pretty tough. So in order to shoot 1 rail here, I'd have to spin it. So I like to play like a Z kick. 3 rails. I think. Maybe, yeah, no, Z kick is what I tried for. So I think in retrospect, after I shot this shot, I just hit a little bit too much right English, thinking it was going to be shorter than it was. Because I was trying to go 2 rails and then kick the 1 in the side, or kick the 1 in the corner. I like going for the 3 foul here. Playing 3 fouls in effect. You already got me on 2. The balls are tied up. Pretty solid. Can't do much here. I think I played 3 rails. End rail, side rail, Z kick. See, that time I didn't go far enough. 3-3. Maybe more lunging is what's necessary. 2 balls on the break. Kind of a thin cut on the one. Couple balls interfering. I don't know if you can play it. I would maybe try to play with a touch of left to bump the 8. Cut the 1 and bump the 8. This table's cloth is pretty dirty. Any sort of rail contact is going to really reduce your chances of making the ball. It had just kind of rained and was a little bit muggy and damp too. I remember on this day, after being pretty warm and dry for a couple of weeks. Yeah, I was trying to play that soft and then play to the window for the 4 to the 9. Between the 4 and 9. Now I can only hit half the ball, so I have to play safe. I think this is a sellout. Seems like, based on my knowledge of James's pre-shot routine, that was a breakdown. Maybe just gotta take a breath. When your safeties work, it's exciting, but then you just gotta get back to work. Make the ball run out. Move on. I didn't want to hold the ball, and this way I can play 4 and then go down table towards the 5 instead of having to go extra rails. I could have played the 9 in either the side or the corner. I ended up with an angle on the 8 to punch it down table and then play the 9 in the side. If I was straight in, I would have just went forward and shot the 9 in the corner. Either shot is fine. I have no preference. I found the less preferences you have as far as what kind of shots you shoot, the easier it is to have a smooth game, because you don't have to shoot and expect and hope for certain shots to appear to stay comfortable. You can just shoot the shot that's in front of you and not be concerned. 2 scratches in a row. Another one that's really tough. I think here what I like doing is playing a cue ball in between the 5 and the 7, and then just banking it out with the stop shot. shooting it towards the side. Oh dang, excuse me. Forgot the one was on the table. Yeah, I don't think I'd be shooting this combo, playing aggressive here. So then in this case, for some reason I thought the one wasn't there. Yeah, just bank the 4, bank the 2 past the 7 towards the 8 really. I'm just going to kick one rail at this ball. Yeah, when I hit it, I was like, man, maybe that was maybe a foul, but it was a good hit. I just didn't get to see it very well because I was concentrating on my line. I think after this game, I started realizing that the table was playing a little bit grabby and slow. It's like the cloth had extra friction with the moisture, and I started kind of figuring it out better. You kind of just have to continue to stay in it until you start to catch up with what your knowledge of the environment is telling you. If you already know how to play in muggy cloth, now the question is, can you recognize that the cloth is muggy, and if the place is muggy or whatever, and then play that game, that style, versus trying to enforce a style that works better on different kinds of equipment than what you're actually playing on. Because I think this shot right here is the one where I was like, dang, I thought I was going to come way further than that. It just didn't go. And I left myself tough. This is a little bit of a touchy out. If you can get on the 4, it's way easier, but that seemed tough. But you got to play your speed really good here. Just trying to stay calm and stay in control of the table and yourself. I don't know if that was I like this position here, really nice and smooth. little bit straighter on the 6 would have been nice, so you could play between the 8 and the 10 and not be so far away. But if you can let that all go and then just shoot the shot that's in front of you, because now you might want to just go forward and back 2 rails. James and I talked about this shot. He did slightly overcut it, but this is, and that changes things. If he had hit it fuller, it would be higher up, closer to the side, and a little bit shorter. So that might have been enough. May just been a little bit, I hit it slightly too hard and a little bit too full. Now, if I'm going to play safe here, what I like to do is bank it 2 rails towards the 9, and then use your cue ball 2 to 3 rails, and then play your speed of the 8 ball. Like, you don't want to bank it towards the 9, but just 2 rails under the 9. Because ideally you want to be under the 9 with the 8, and then the cue ball on the end rail on the second diamond. Just kicking 2 rails at the ball. If you can make it, you can cut it though. And then I just use right English. Five to 3. It's a much better break. Just missed it. Yeah, and one of the things I like to do, that's, now that I'm noticing myself picking up the rack, is in competition. I like to do all the little stuff to set myself up, like, so I don't have to mess around anymore. On that rack with when it looks like you might break and run because you have a shot on the 1, I like to just move the rack out of the way immediately. It helps me kind of like center myself, gives me more time to center myself. That was when I think I really realized how clean I needed to hit the ball, because I thought that was in when I made it, but it just jawed up, hit the point going in. I just drew it right on top of the 3, so it's a pretty fortunate result here. But at this point, it's like he already missed the 1 ball once. I'll have to show James a way to play to shoot tree-topped over the shot. On those, I like to play thin hit so that I can judge the speed a little bit better. Then it's more like a lag. So now I'm going to play this with 2 rails. Yeah, after that, now I'm intentionally thinking that the 3 is going to go in after the 7. So I'm playing a shot for the 4. Ended up straight on it. I was trying to draw above it, at playing this angle so I can just come out for the 6. It's going to be 6-3. Kind of figured it out here a little bit. Switch sides on the break. Some bad juju on the other one. Not really. I just actually like to break from the right side at home, so I'll normally try both sides, and if one side is not working great, which I had scratched twice in a row, sometimes it just doesn't work as good. So I'm planning to run out here, bank it. If I can get straight in on the 3, then I'm pretty much good to go. Yeah, this is a pretty simple rack. Just want to make sure I don't get tree topped over the 6. Now I can play straight high and go back up to the middle of the table, or I can go right with it and go 2 rails back to an angle on it. Depends on my personal preference. I like the 2 railer a lot because it kind of, once it gets past the 5, it's on generally the shot line that I want, which is to go cut the 5 in the corner and then go 1 rail. Came up a little funny here. Just drew straight back. I started trying to make sure I'm using a little bit of spin to try to make the ball go in a little bit better and playing my shots that way. When the balls are they're not really dirty, but the cloth is very grippy, so I'm making sure to the spin that I use is helping the shot go in. There seems to be a lot of like cling, so using that cling makes it easier. Basically, 7-3. Got to work on the timing of. One thing I learned from Eddie Mattia on the break when I'm lifting my body up is think about how you're elevating your shoulder. And you're basically, my thought is that made sense where I'm like, okay, my shoulder is going to go up 2 to 3 inches before I swing. And because really you're just trying to change the angle of your upper arm to get more leverage when you hit the ball. And that gives you more power. So I no shot after the break, so I'm rolling out. The shot here is to thin it and then play the 1 under the 3, and then your cue ball behind the 9 or the 5. One of the things is when the balls are clinging like they are, is you're going to hit a lot of like full hits, and then the ball's going to slow down way more than you think. Here I'm playing the 3 ball. Trying to bank the 1 towards the 7. And then just hopefully like cut the 3 in and stop the cue ball right where the 3 is at. Then I can play the 1 from wherever it ends up. I don't really have like a safe that I'd like here. I guess I could shoot the same safety that he just played. But I think that, to me, I end up scratching a lot there. And if I have an offensive shot, I'm going to go for the offensive shot as much as possible. Here, if I'm playing safe, I would try to bank the 1 towards the corner, behind the 9, basically, and then play your cue ball kind of by the 4. Yeah, that shot. Just got to line it up a little bit better. Checking to see how easily I can shoot the 2 in the corner and then not scratch and where I have to be. And then on this, because I can draw the ball and make it and draw it towards the 9. If I overdraw it, I'll go behind the 6. So I'm trying to draw into the gap. Because I want to be fairly straight on the 1, on the 2, so that I can play the 3. Pretty good. Hit the point. I think I like to bank this ball. Did not hit that very clean. I was way wide. Another tricky position because you kind of have to stun it with a little bit of left to come over for the 4 the way you want to. It's going to go back across the table, I think here. Kind of a punch shot. Almost didn't get there. Maybe I didn't get there. I think I had to kick it in, actually. was an emergencies break glass type of shot. Just draw back to between the balls, and that's that. All right, it's 8-3. Just hoping to make that and run out. It's like a jump shot here. At this point, you just got to be telling yourself, okay, well, just keep working at it. You're not dead yet. You know, you just fight until the end. That's the habit that you're trying to build here. Even if it's tough. Got a hit. Got caught by the table there, and I was a little bit of a scratch shot, so I was trying to cheat the pocket, but did not get away with it. Yeah, so here you want to play right English, I think, and cut it. Use the right to turn it a little bit more between the 7 and the 8 to play the 2 in the side. If this hits the 4, then I probably play with high right English. If I can hit the face of it, like if the 4 gets sent towards the corner pocket, then I use high right to try to play shape for the 3 off the 4. yeah, more speed and right English there, and it would have went forward into that rail and back out, and that would have gave a little bit of a better shot. You just got to play what's there. You know, if you know you're going to bump it, then just play it to bump it, and then you know what's going to happen after that by making it happen. Would have just left himself a tough shot off the rail. Kind of got to go for the extra sometimes, even though it makes it a little bit tougher in the moment, you know. You want to cinch the ball, but in order to cinch the 3, you had to do a little bit of extra work on the 2. And that's kind of like how it goes some of the time. So on this out, I'm just going to try to play to the middle of the table so I don't have to bump any balls. Staying on the correct side of the ball. Nothing interfering. Just going to draw here to come up table a little bit. Yeah, I just like to play a little bit of extra speed sometimes to get just on the right side of the ball instead of having to play through like weird transition traffic, so I can roll the ball a little bit more when I can. Alright everybody, well thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of this and have a great day.